Let me tell you something about pain. Pain don't hurt. And say we're going to use the movie Roadhouse to help you improve your customer service in your business. And if you stick around to the end, you're going to be actionable steps on how to implement Dalton's 3 simple rules for dealing with the idiots coming into your business.
Hi, welcome back to Blunt Force Business. I'm Brian LaFauci.
And I'm Patrick Marino.
And I want you to imagine a world where every single customer coming into your door is handled with grace, mercy, and the gentle touch of a 1989 Patrick Swayze. Sounds good, right? It wasn't so gentle sometimes in that movie Roadhouse that we're going to reference today, and is going to be the framework for how we talk about customer service.
The movie is 35 years old. 35 years old this year. Cult classic.
If you haven't watched it, you can watch it, or just stick with the video because we got some clips embedded in it. So enjoy it. All right, let's jump right in.
Jump right in.
All right, so blunt force fact number 1, we're going to let Patrick take it away. Not this Patrick, Patrick Swayze.
All you have to do is follow 3 simple rules. 1, never underestimate your opponent. Expect the unexpected.
Blunt force fact number 1, like Patrick said, never underestimate your opponents.
I think it's not just that our customers could be crazy. Some of our customers could be crazy, especially if they're pissed off, if they're mad about something. They'd be irrational. But I think it's just important to be prepared for any type of customer interaction you possibly could be. You just don't know. You don't know where the customer is in their pissed off level. You don't know where they're at. So just be ready for it.
That's it. Blunt force fact number 2, Mr. Swayze.
2, take it outside. Never start anything inside the bar unless it's absolutely necessary.
Blunt force fact number 2 is take it outside. Be discreet when you handle situations with your customers.
I think there's so many opportunities, I think some of us have been in like a restaurant, or I know with my customers who handle online reviews, and the worst thing you can do is show everybody else how pissed off you are and argue with the customer. It just puts a bad taste in everybody's mouth. So we want to make sure that we handle the complaint offline so that nobody else sees it.
Absolutely. And then blunt force fact number 3, let's see what Dalton has to say about that.
And 3, be nice.
Come on.
If somebody gets in your face and calls you a cocksucker, I want you to be nice.
Okay.
Ask him to walk, but be nice. If he won't walk, walk him, but be nice. If you can't walk him, one of the others will help you, and you'll both be nice. I want you to remember that it's a job. It's nothing personal.
Uh-huh. Being called a cocksucker isn't personal?
No. It's 2 nouns combined to elicit a prescribed response.
I wonder if somebody calls my mama a whore.
Is she? I want you to be nice until it's time to not be nice.
Well, how are we supposed to know when that is?
You won't. I'll let you know. You are the bouncers, I am the cooler. All you have to do is watch my back and each other's. Take out the trash.
Blunt force fact number 3, just be nice, baby. Be nice.
That's the hardest thing. I mean, what if somebody calls you a cocksucker?
Oh, what do you mean, what if? When in the last hour someone calls me a cocksucker?
That's the hardest part, but you got to be nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good stuff. So obviously today you've probably caught on already to the way we're approaching this and all the different key components that come out of that awesome movie that, like you said, just celebrated its 35th anniversary. So if you haven't watched the whole thing, make sure you watch it. So,
I mean, if you're in your 40s, you probably just watched it last weekend because it's on TV all the time. Although people don't really watch TV the same way. But this is like one of those where if you're at home on a Sunday and you've had a couple too many drinks on the Saturday before and it's like 11 o'clock and you're just flipping through the cable channels and like TBS comes on and I mean, Roadhouse is on 3 times out of 4.
Right.
Yeah.
As we kind of delve into this and think about the many problems that customer service can become as a business to us nowadays, to me, the landscape of ability to complain publicly is so magnified now, and I think we're aware of that. Obviously, that what did you do 20 years ago when you had a problem with something? Well, you called the store, and now what do people do? Is they're putting it out to the world, and we got to find a way to reel that in, and always know that, like our first blunt force fact when we're talking about never underestimate your opponent, right? We think about, in this case, who's our opponent? Well, our opponent really is the customer that maybe we thought we were cool with that we're not. And can I share a quick story?
Of course you can, yeah.
We had an incident just like this where we underestimated our opponent and it backfired on us. When we owned the sport complex, we were in the process of putting our new outdoor field in. And what we did was we wanted to kind of work out, like, all right, how's the field play before we actually rented it. So we reached out to a number of teams who play here. And we said, do you want to play a free game? We'll provide a ref. Go out there. We want your feedback. Well, let me tell you, one of the people who went out there for the free game purposefully to evaluate the field took pictures of 3 or 4 little things that in, one of which was that by chance that morning or something, someone had walked their dog on the field because we didn't probably have up the signs yet, no dog, whatever. And the dog took a shit on the field, which I get, but clearly was just a thing. And maybe it was a stray dog. Who knows? This guy took a picture of it and put it on social media. Now there's a customer who we offered a gift to with the clear expectation, hey, just give us feedback on what you think, that then proceeded to post it publicly as a review, which falls right into blunt force fact number 1, which is
expect the unexpected.
Yeah,
you were expecting
we
that,
did not
right?
expect that. We did not expect that. It was such a lesson for us. We went into it.
What's the lesson? The lesson is just expect there to be unexpected things. I mean, in a million years, you never would have mapped that out. You'd have mapped out every conceivable thing that could have happened during that game, even somebody getting hurt or something like that. But probably that wouldn't have been one, especially not just finding it, but also then posting it publicly for everybody to see.
Well, yes.
Yeah, these would have been.
It was a weird move.
These are the things. But it prepares you. I mean, the thing I think about is that you never know, and you can think about times that you've gone into a business to do business, whether it's a store, you're trying to buy something or whatever it is. As the business owner, you don't know where that person is at. Right. So I could have had a terrible morning. I could be looking for something for my wife, you know what I mean? And just have very specific marching orders, or I could be having to get somewhere really quickly, or, I could already be pissed off because I'm upset that I'm replacing this product because I broke it or whatever it is. You just don't know where I'm at. So you have to be prepared for the fact that there might be something irrational happening. Because when we get distressed, that's when we're most likely to act irrationally.
Right.
Fatigue, being pissed off, having a snot-nosed kid running around and being an idiot while I'm trying to do it. You know what I mean? All these things that can contribute. And you just have to be prepared. And as the business owner, you have to also have something we talk about all the time, empathy, right? And you have to put yourself, remember that time when you were less than rational and you were pissed off and you were tired when you walked in to do something with a business, right? You just don't know. Or this is like anything. You're in a business to business and you're working with somebody who's not pissed off, but they're busy. Say they're a plumber and they're just freaking losing their mind. They don't have enough people to go out to the next job or whatever it is. And then you're calling them about something. And it's just you just don't know where people are in their day. Right. So you have to be empathetic, I think. I think that's one of the key parts is to have empathy for people and just realize that you just don't know where they're at. And where they're at could be affected by any number of things that are completely out of your control.
Right. And I think Mr. Swayze really even went one step further with that in how he approached the bar, and that is, it doesn't even matter if you empathize with them or not. Now, empathy helps because it gets you in a mind state a little quicker, I think. But it doesn't matter. You may not empathize with them at all.
Right.
But we're still just gonna be nice.
We got to still deal with it.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna, deal with it, and then then it becomes the thing. It's like he said, be nice until you can't be nice anymore, right? Until you can. And when is that? We all have that, and it'd be ignorant of us to have this podcast without acknowledging that sometimes you got to metaphorically punch the client in the face. And just be that's enough, and we're all done. But we approach it from the initial standpoint of everything we're looking to do is to take it down this lane. And even though this person is coming at us to take it down this other lane, if they're calling us with a complaint or whatever it might be, and even if they're not, the chance they may want to take it down this road, and that consistent response. And I think there are a lot of large companies have gotten good at this. What do you think? I think
of course. Yeah, of course.
But the smaller companies are where it can be tough because I think a lot of smaller companies, they don't necessarily have the time or put the time into this component of the interaction.
Or they're so invested that they take it personally. Right, so that's one of the things Dalton says. Right, it's not personal; it's business.
Yeah.
So the individual solopreneur, or the individual business owner who started the business themselves.
Yep.
When you are complaining about something that happened in the business, you're insulting them directly. Right. If you're talking about my business that I started, doing my skill, whatever that skill is.
Yeah.
And now you're telling me I don't know what I'm doing, or what I did was wrong.
Right.
Then that can be like, I'm taking that personally.
Yeah.
When you can't do that, you can't take it personally.
Mm-hmm.
It literally is just business. And when you start handling things irrationally as the business owner, now you could do something in public that could negatively impact your business, whether it's actually in, let's say you're in a store or a restaurant and other people can see that. They don't know what happened to cause your outburst as an owner. All they know is you're treating the customer like shit, right? It's the same thing with online reviews, because this happens. This is something I deal with in the digital world and something I've had to deal with personally. You get the bad review and it talks about something, and as a business owner, you're like, this is not what happened.
Right.
And so your first impulse is to say, write a big long email or respond to the review and explain exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, freaking nobody cares.
Tell you what happened.
Nobody cares about any of that stuff.
Right there, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like nobody cares. They're going to look at the 1-star review. They don't need to see that it was. They don't need all the dirty laundry to come out. Inevitably, it's just going to make you look bad, especially if it looks like you're acting irrationally and emotionally to something. It's just going to make you look bad, whether it's an outburst in person in the store or whether it's an outburst online. It almost never pays off to deal with that publicly. Take it outside, take it offline. My canned response to my business owners who are trying to respond to a review, because what will happen is my businesses will get the 1-star review. I'll alert them and say, and I'll give them my canned response is usually like, we aim to provide a 100% satisfactory experience for everybody. We're sorry that you didn't have that. You don't feel like you had that experience, right? And again, what you're doing for the business owners, you're not saying the customer was right, and you're not arguing with them. The customer feels a certain way. It's less than 100% satisfactory.
Right.
So we're giving them that.
Right.
Okay, we're sorry about that. Like we wish you left here feeling great. You didn't.
Yep.
We're sorry. Here's my phone number. I'd love to talk to you about this. Give us a call. Your best case is you fix whatever went wrong and they take the review down.
And they change the review.
Your worst case scenario in that case is nothing happens. At least it looks like to the public, it looks like you responded to it. And that's like, I had a situation where I was running a ad campaign with a very small spend. And I told, and this is in all my contracts and everything I say, we talk about no fine print, right? We cannot guarantee results. And if we're going to be running something at less than the budget than we say that we want to run at, then we definitely can't. But what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to run these 3 experiments, and we're going to see by the end of the 3 which one worked the best, and maybe we'll put a little bit of money into that experiment. We got halfway into the second experiment, and the guy freaking lost it. And he was just like, we're not getting any results. They told you we might not get any results for all 3 experiments. We're spending no money. We've never done this for this particular, for your business. You've never done this before, so we're working in a new environment. Maybe we've done it in similar environments, but this is new. Every client, every situation is new. The types of people we're targeting is a little bit different or whatever it is. And he was just like, I want my money back. I want this. I was like, first of all, there's no refunds. Second of all, you're in the middle of a 3-month contract. We haven't even started experiment number 3 yet. Like this was all detailed to you. And I told you all of this. Like whatever. It didn't matter. He was going to destroy me. And he did. He didn't destroy me. I'm still here.
Right.
I'm still in business. Right. But he gave me a 1-star review in every possible area he could. Better Business Bureau, Google, Yelp.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think there's like a TripAdvisor review for me out there. Or something
I don't
like
even
that.
do that.
There's something that talks. When
you're on vacation, don't stop at this marketing company.
There's some website that's like 0-star reviews or customercomplaints.com or something like that. And he went on that too. And the only reason I know all that is because you can see the back. I'm an SEO, so you can see all the backlinks to your business. But it hasn't had a big effect on me, but it hasn't had zero effect because I had a couple clients ask me about the review because I don't solicit reviews a lot. So it's like I have 8 reviews, and one of them's this 1-star, don't do business with this guy. Right. Don't give him your money. Don't give him your credit card because he's going to steal it. You're just like, and you can't get these. Google's not going to take that down. It's very
tough to get Google.
Yeah, Google's not going to take that down.
Yeah.
What did happen, which is kind of a funny story, is I was promoting myself in a Facebook community group, and he said something in that group that was completely off base. Again, like me stealing his money, which is freaking absurd. And I got the group to remove him from the group. But it was a matter of I had to send all the text messages and the contract and all that stuff. But I thought it was important because he had just called me out so directly and personally in this smaller group. Yeah. So they did remove him and they removed his complaint.
Well, and that is the downside of the environment that we live in with this is that the amount of effort you have to go through to prove hey, that's not true is immense. Yeah. And a lot of times you're just well, fuck it.
It's basically not worth it.
I don't have the time or the bandwidth. It's
essentially not worth it.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of times it's not worth it. And you have to make that. So in the movie, he said, be nice till it's time to not be nice.
You keep bringing that up. Because it's you're ready for the fisticuffs.
Well, I think there is a point in time where you need to defend yourself. And how do you do that? Right. Because you just made a good point. If I go off on social media, I risk looking like a whatever you want.
An asshole.
Yeah, looking like a jerk or whatever. So at what time do you, it's like the conversation we had with Brendan on our fatherhood podcast, you don't punch people in the face first. We're nice, we're nice, we're nice. But when, as a business owner, do you need to punch someone in the face? And I think there are times where that is necessary. Very similar to the movie where we're doing everything we can and you're falsifying this. And so what I've found to be effective in those moments, just to get people to stop if they're really being slanderous and what they're saying is not really true. A legal letter can be great. It really can. It can be really effective. It can be the business owner's backhand. Right. Right. So a letter from an attorney, saying, hey, we're asking you to cease and desist this, or else we're going to take legal action. It just gets people to rethink, right? Am I that willing to go down this road with this? Am I willing to keep this up and maybe incur legal costs?
Well, what's your cost for the legal defense? Do you have the legal professional on retainer, or is this a $500 an hour?
Most attorneys that I know would be willing to send that letter at no cost. If you have an attorney that works with you on your business, that started and if you didn't use an attorney to get your business started, there's probably a flaw there, right? That we need to identify.
I don't know. What if you were to guess, what percentage of businesses started without an attorney? I mean, we got to be 50-50 here because I didn't start with an attorney.
I would say it's less common to not If I was going to throw a number,
I bet
on
you
it,
it's like 75% no attorney, maybe 80% no attorney.
not even. So if you're saying like not even an attorney that drew up the operating agreement,
I mean, like if you walk into the Small Business Association right now and say, I got to start an LLC. I mean, I know the advice that I got from most of the people I talk to. You go through LegalZoom.
yeah,
And so you spend like $700 on LegalZoom.
to have the documents.
And
drawn
it's all done.
Yeah.
Freaking done for you.
See, that's why I don't like Siegel's because
'Cause you wanna have
I
an
can call
attorney.
my attorney and he'll write a letter like that for me. So, but even if it did cost you, I don't know, $100, $200, if it did go that route, that's why I recommend. That's why I like having the attorney because they will usually do that. Hey, can you just throw? No, most time they have the form letters ready to go. They just throw their name on it and get out the door, or they have a paralegal just put it out the door for you. But that can be a way to, this is now going too far. I've tried all the nice ways to solve it, resolve it, and, end goal being, hey, would you be willing to change that review? Now they're not stopping and they're trying to cost me other business. That's a way. And that is definitely a way to kind of fire back a little bit.
There's
if
also
it's
like,
going
I think
beyond
that
point.
we should probably get into some systems here. But at some point, like if we're talking about, we're going down, like to me, if you've ever been in a situation like this, what you don't want to have happen is you don't want to have a can of worms opened up, right? So I think that the easiest thing is to go through these 3 rules. I think that Patrick Swayze and Dalton, he's not a freaking idiot. He's done this before. It's not his first freaking Roadhouse, right? This is not the first one. So he knows like the best, the best thing you can do is be nice and then hopefully it dies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't want to be freaking involving legal people unless it's like a last resort.
I agree.
And I think it probably what we're doing is we're referring back to our previous video, which is you have a process. This is a system. Customer in-house is complaining. What's the system for that?
Right.
Customer complains online. Again, like I have my standard canned response. This is what we're going to send.
Yep.
Obviously, I don't send it on behalf of my client, but I ask the client, do you approve that we send this? And here's the process. And hopefully he calls and takes, like, this is all systematized and we have a process. It's been trained with our employees, right? So, part of your training should probably be turn on Roadhouse, break out the VHS.
That's it.
Turn it on. Watch Patrick Swayze explain everything. I think that the idea of having,
Or just play this video.
well, the idea of having
This is a great employee training
the
video.
idea of having a cooler, right? So it's like having layers. So you have your front desk, front of house person who's dealing with the customer at first, and then it escalates. What's the escalation procedure? You involve a second person, right? And you both be nice, right? And then there's the cooler. The cooler is like the last ditch, like. Yeah, it's again like we have to remove this person from the building, kind of thing, or it's online and it's all over the place, and we have to involve our professional.
Yeah.
But I think that's system.
Yeah. So for our clients and for our listeners, training.
Yeah.
Right. So implementing training and, like you said, a system of responses. Like this is the way you respond. The beauty of customer complaints is you can create 4 or 5 canned response that really address every situation, and the way to diffuse someone and take it offline is, like you said, try to get them to call, right? Offer them an outlet where they can reach out to you.
Don't have the interaction on Facebook.
No, absolutely not.
Don't have the interaction on your
No,
on
we're
your
not going to have
Google
a
review.
we're not going to have a back and forth there.
It's not. Or don't have it on the Better Business Bureau if you can help it.
And role playing.
Yeah.
And role playing is a big piece of this and you can have 2 employees, and role playing these scenarios with the 2 employees is very important because they may encounter these kind of things, and how do you address it? How do you bring it up? And how do you do these things? So training, canned responses, and role playing are a great way a starting point. So everyone knows, hey, when this stuff happens, this is what you do. This is how you manage it and how you become a Patrick Swayze rock star. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, but I do. I think that this is, and we talked about having this video before. We actually did a customer service one. I think the last time we did the customer service, we were really talking about just the importance of positive customer service and how that can affect. I think this is more dealing with the bad
problems.
Yeah, dealing with the problem.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
dealing with it. But I do think like these are if you follow these 3 rules, I think that you will effectively deal with almost every single customer complaint. Because I think that for me, like all of these just ring so true. Bringing it offline, being nice, just having that be the base. And like really, if it's not going to be you, if it's going to be you, you have to remember it is a business and it's not personal, right? And they're not, if they're upset and they're saying things, it could be because they're really upset. It could be because they're tired or whatever it is. You can't then mirror that as the business owner. You have to take yourself out of it. As much as the business is yours personally, as much as you develop the product, like you have to take yourself out of it and realize that. And also like, we used to have, and we've talked about our youth soccer journey, our youth sports journeys. We used to have a 24-hour rule for our parents. And what that said was, especially when you're dealing with other people's kids, right? Because that's the most important thing in the world to them. So where are they going to act most irrationally? When something goes wrong for their kid. Right. And so that's, again, part of the empathy piece. But the idea of the 24-hour rule was give it 24 hours. And then if you still feel the same way, let's arrange something. And it was again, like you're taking it offline, you're defusing, you're giving it some time.
They know they have an outlet.
Exactly.
Right?
There's this opportunity. Here you go. You can arrange a meeting if you want. I've been, as the business owner, you have to admit that you've made mistakes in the past.
Right.
You're not perfect.
Right.
Our product and service is not going to be perfect. That doesn't mean that this time we didn't execute exactly as it should have, but it means that there are going to be times when we screw up.
Yeah.
And just admit that and say, I don't know if this is one of those times, but like we did, it's possible. So if you still feel the same way, here's this outlet. We can talk about.
I think that's a really important point. Like, do your customers know the best way for them to lodge a complaint? And is it front and center for them? Right? So if it is front and center, like, hey, I'm upset, they're going to go to the lowest hanging, the lowest common denominator. For them, it's picking up their phone. But if you've reiterated to them and made access to you and your employees easy, like, hey, I can always get them on the phone. They know me. I'm just call because the relationships that I have, if I have a problem with a certain business relationship, then I inevitably, if it's one that I know the people, I just call them. I would never. We have a phenomenal relationship with Navigant Credit Union, it's a local credit union. I would never, even if I was unhappy about something, it would not, because I know that they are there to hear from me, and they've opened the door to communication so well that I know they're going to pick up the phone. I would never. If I had an issue, we would go right to them. So do you have that kind of relationship with your customer base? When, and expect the unexpected for us, like we talked about in the beginning, was I made the assumption that I had this relationship with this client that I gave this free thing to, and I clearly didn't. Because if I did, they would have just called, right? Now, one of the other plays
you could have said as part of your SOP next time, you could be like, look, if there's an issue, call me.
Yeah, so how that went
fill
wrong.
Out this form, whatever it is. Like, or you immediately follow up.
Yeah.
You go out like and say, like, instead of giving them the opportunity to give the feedback, you get the feedback.
Right. Be
like
out there
afterwards,
sitting
there
when
the game is over and you're like, all right, I'm ready to go.
Sitting there the whole
time.
time.
Tell me what you thought, you know?
That's good stuff.
I mean, the other thing is we talked about, when did we talk about returns? We talked about it with, in marketing versus deception. We talked about return policies and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we talked about returns policies, and that's where this comes in too. Like that's the ultimate being nice. The customer ordering something, using it, being pissed off with it, and returning it, and you just accepting it back.
Right.
That's the ultimate, like,
right.
And again, expected. The customer is going to use 3/4 of it and then return it and say, you know what, I didn't like it.
Right.
At first, you're going to be like, you fucking serious? you took you 3/4 of the way through my product to figure out that you didn't like it. Now you're going to be returning it, or worse, they return an empty bottle.
Right.
You freaking used it. Like seriously?
Yeah.
But it's a math problem, right? What's the cost of the negative interaction by saying, like, well, you freaking used it all, and like, you know, it couldn't have been that bad. Like,
right.
You know, like seriously, like you want your freaking money back. What's the negative of that versus just saying, okay, you know, Thanks. We're sorry you didn't like it.
Yep.
Here's your money back.
Yep.
What's the positive of that?
Be nice if you can.
I think we figured out that the positive is usually like this uptick in retention.
Yeah.
Right? You're way better off in the long term. Short term, you lose a little bit of money. In the long term, you build these relationships and you have this reputation. How important is your reputation? How could you screw up your reputation by getting to a shouting match with a customer in the middle of the restaurant, or in the middle of in the middle of their house or whatever it is?
And just like, if in the Roadhouse clip where he's kind of giving the introduction to this is the new way of doing things, he talks about it from the standpoint of this can't be the place where it is, there's all fights and there's this. You don't want your digital presence to be a place where there's just this constant negativity, right? Because it will reflect on the entire experience for your other customer. That's great. I think we should wrap.
Roadhouse.
Rest in peace, Patrick Swayze.
No, seriously, what a freaking loss. I'm going for. Some people think I'm going for the Swayze hair. If I can do just a little bit of cleaning
you
up,
need a little curl,
a little
too.
front and
He's
the back,
got a little curl.
Yeah, a little fluff, a little perm. Perms are back now.
You got to shave the beard.
Ask our buddy. We got a younger guy in our group.
You shave the beard. All right, good stuff. Blunt force fact number 1, never underestimate your opponent and expect the unexpected. Blunt force fact number 2 is take it outside and resolve conflicts discreetly. Blunt force fact number 3 is always be nice until you can't anymore. I'm Brian LaFauci.
Patrick Marino.
Until next time.
Thank you.